Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's weekly energy boost. My name is Elisheva, and I am here this beautiful Monday morning with David, and we are psyched about sharing with you how to cough while you're recording a podcast. Actually, no.
This feeling that you want to cough every time.
Before we go live.
Right, as soon as you go live. You know, it reminds me, this is maybe a little TMI, but like if I'm in the bedroom with my wife, I say, I need to use the restroom. She's like, no, wait, I need to use it. I'm like, well, why do you always need to use it when I need to go use it? It's like it triggers a FOMO of the bathroom.
Okay. Well,
so the cough.
David doesn't like
There is a parallel here. I know there's a parallel, and I'm trying to figure out what it is.
He hears me speaking, and he's got to make
That's right.
noise.
As soon as I hear you speaking, my throat says, I gotta cough quick before you can later.
If you are new to the Weekly Energy Boost, we provide our listeners every week with a 7-day spiritual energy forecast so that you can best navigate the coming week with its opportunities and its potential pitfalls. We do that through looking at the wisdom of Kabbalah and choosing the most powerful and practical tools that will serve our listeners in the coming week, which inevitably will serve them anytime that they need it. And this week we're talking about how to live in an elevated state in unelevated times with unelevated people, right? We're talking today about how to raise your vibe. And this is an interesting conversation to have. We are just now, I think, on the Kabbalistic calendar. Today is the second day of the month of Virgo. The month of Virgo on the Kabbalistic calendar is an intense month, or a month of intense spiritual work. And one thing I always say about the Kabbalistic calendar is that it's really it's not a measurement tool for time, it's a measurement tool for energy. That if you follow what's happening every month and every week, you'll always have an accurate plan for what to focus on in your own inner world, in your own spiritual work. So this week, we have the opportunity to take the potential pitfall of this month and this week specifically, to judge, to be judgmental, to use our 5 senses and our logical, rational mind to analyze what's going on around us, and instead actually amplify our 6th sense. That to me is really what vibration is about. It's a very fluffy word that gets thrown around in different
very fluffy
contexts. What I think about when I hear the word vibration or frequency, it reminds me of music. I don't know about you, David, but I grew up playing piano.
Me too.
There you go. Another Pisces similar thing we have. So in playing piano, right, you learn the music scale, you learn even the function of the piano, where the key, you hit the key hits a hammer, the hammer hits the string. The person who tunes your piano comes with a tuning fork, and if you've ever played with any instrument or a tuning fork, you know that there's a certain vibration, and let's say you hit the tuning fork, it vibrates, and then if you bring another object to close proximity with it, it too will vibrate with that pitch. So to me, as a first musical person, and second, chronologically, I first studied music, then I studied spirituality. When I think of vibration and frequency, I think of music. That we want to live our lives in a world in which we're surrounded by people that we have harmony with. Or when we're not vibing at the right frequency, we want to immerse ourselves in an environment that helps us raise our vibration, raise our frequency. So I bring this as sort of the backdrop for what we're going to talk about today, because in the month of Virgo, we're actually given a gift to be able to better identify where we're off, where we're not operating at a high frequency, where we are missing the mark or not hitting the high notes in the way that we know that we can, right? Whether we want to make the effort now is another discussion, but we all have this potential, and we can get a better glimpse of our greater potential in this month, probably more than in any month of the year. So the question we're asking ourselves this week and the question we're asking our listeners this week is, what can you do? What can I do to raise my basic operating level?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about I'm in a bad mood right now. What can I imbibe? What tea can I drink to change my mood? We're talking about upgrading our frequency permanently. And what are the things that we do, consciously or unconsciously, that bring us down, that weigh us down, or that cause us to not show up as the person that we know we can be?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this concept as you were talking, and kind of what it all boils down to is when I feel like a channel during the day, that's when I'm happiest. And when I feel like I'm just a receiver, or we talk about this, are you a river or a swamp? Right? The river is constantly channeling energy through it. It's fresh. It's crystal clear waters. It evokes images of like Arrowhead commercials, the water we drink from the bottle. Or you're a swamp. What we know about the swamp is it sits still and it collects from the river, and eventually it gets moldy. And the way we feel during the day is all dependent on if we're a river or a swamp. So when we hold on to stuff, even physical stuff, right? When we hold on to stuff, hold on to opinions, hold on to what someone did to me, I hold on to it somewhere in my body. I'm holding on to it in my neck, in my back, in my legs, in my elbow, and in my hair. People hold on stuff into different parts of the body, right? Like the book, The Body Keeps a Score. So we hold on to stuff and we start to feel like a swamp. Now we're no longer vibrating at that high level. The vibration, the energy comes from he or she who lets go. Always letting go, constantly letting go. Many of us, we get stuck in a comfort zone. We start to have a lot of fears, stuff that kids don't have, we have. We start to create like a protective world of monotony, constantly doing the same thing because it's comfortable. Now there's routine, which is powerful. Routine means that I stick to a schedule of doing something outside my comfort zone. Monotony is I just do what's in my comfort zone consistently. So this makes us not a channel. And when you're not a channel, your vibration is shot. It's done. People feel it. People don't want to be around that energy. People don't want to be around swamps. Swamps are stinky, are filled with alligators. Swamps have a lot of mosquitoes because it's still water. So what does it mean in our lives that we're just kind of stuck in the same place? And taking risks is taking calculated risks for positive things is always a very good thing. I always tell my Kabbalah students who are really into Kabbalah and they want to grow, I say, try things all the time. Try this, come to that, fly here, go there. But it's too expensive, it's my time, just stream it. This is my favorite. I'll just stream it. No, don't just stream it. Streaming is for people who are like in a war-torn countries who can't go anywhere and have no choice. That's the way I like to look at streaming. Sometimes, yes, we stream because it's convenient and we need to, but streaming shouldn't be the way I connect. It should be the thing I do if I have no choice. And if you have a choice, you should let go. Like we have a big event coming in 3-4 weeks, a global event, thousands of people. And we'll have thousands of streamers and we'll have thousands of people live. And I say it to myself too, it's uncomfortable flying across the world to come to New York City for an event. It's uncomfortable. But if you push yourself, there's an energy, there's an experience. And I want to say something. The reason why many of us fail our tests is because the body is totally governed by the opponent. We talked about the opponent last week. The body, with its addictions and its negativity and its lusts, it only gets pleasure from reactive behavior. This is the body. The soul gets its pleasure from all the stuff that we're learning, becoming like God. your body, you'll never beat your body. You'll never beat the opponent. The opponent will always win. But you have to give your body soulful experiences so that your body sees that it's also very pleasurable to be with the light of the Creator. So when we get together and we have these events, it's a soulful experience that the body can say, all right, I see that I can also enjoy the spiritual world. I don't need to just be mired in lust and addiction and fears and whatnot. So I always tell my students, I say, look, streaming, you'll never really get, and by the streaming is a metaphor for all the times we're just in our comfort zone. Streaming, you'll never get that soulful experience. You get something. But being in person, that is with other great souls.
You could compare it to listening to a good album and going to a concert.
That's right. Like the Super Bowl, I always realize how comfortable it is. Like the camera angles now they have, the like 5000D HD. I'm like, if I was at the Super Bowl, unless I'm like on the field, up in the stands, it's not as enjoyable, right? But there's an energy,
right?
An undeniable energy.
So I think that's to David's point. When you are, I actually think that there's 2 points that you made without maybe realizing it. One is that calculated risk to go against the gravity of the body raises the vibration incredibly. And 2, being in a group with people who are intent on raising their frequency will also by default raise yours.
Right.
So, I don't know if you've ever been to a concert where like there's a parent taking like a group of kids and the kids are like, yeah. And the parent's like, with ear mufflers and like grouchy, arms crossed, sitting in the, in the chair. By the end of the concert, that parent is standing up.
Right.
It's just inevitable. There is just, first of all, having people's butts bumping up against you at a concert is kind of annoying too. But that idea that, their energy is contagious and it goes both ways. So the question, the virtual question David is saying is, yes, you could be comfortable, which is already a lower frequency, or you could make more effort. And this is what the month of Virgo is. One of the questions that we ask ourselves throughout the month is, where could I easily be making more effort?
Yeah.
Easily. We're not talking about, I don't know, climbing Mount Everest. That would be a huge effort and huge investment and training and blah, blah. But right now, I bet every single one of us has at least 5 things we can think of off the top of our head where we could be making extra effort and we are not. So let's say way number 1, we can elevate our frequency is to make those calculated risks, make that I don't want to say it's easy effort because effort is not meant to be easy, but it's simple. It's low-hanging fruit. It's right in front of us. We're already engaging somehow, but taking that engagement to the next level will definitely increase our frequency. And physically participating in things that are nourishing for the soul will also raise your frequency and remind your body that spiritual work is pleasurable. And I shouldn't even call it work because that already gives it a negative connotation. Spiritual connection can be pleasurable too. It's really shifting our association, our perception of those activities, right? I think about people, we were learning a couple of weeks ago about the power of meditation and how it's basically essential to spend at least 15 minutes a day, 10 to 15 minutes a day, engaged in some kind of meditation in order for us to grow our experience of the light in our lives. It's just, no matter which Kabbalist you ask, no matter which book you open, everybody's either meditating for 10 minutes or 3 hours or somewhere in between. But there is nobody that allows a day to go by without having that connection with self, which is really connection with the light. And my skin crawls to think about it, right? Like that to me is one of the greatest efforts I make on a day, any given day. And because I'm a Kabbalah student for a long time and also a Kabbalah teacher, the fact that it makes my skin crawl makes me excited because I know it's going to have that much. The people who love meditating, it doesn't have that much impact for them. And that's what goes back to the making the effort, getting outside the comfort zone. The more outside of your comfort zone it is, the more impact it's going to have for you. So it doesn't matter if it's doing the dishes or meditating or flying across the world to be a part of some epic event. It's the what you will experience is relative to how against your grain it takes you. And I don't know that we talk about that enough on the podcast, that each person has their own grain, their own vibration that they're comfortable at, that they're good with.
Get me excited here. You get me excited.
It wasn't effort. If I look at myself 5 years ago, I am like Herculean compared to who I was 5 years ago. And I get energy from thinking about how much I've grown, even though I haven't grown recently. I'm riding on the fumes of the growth I've done. But right now, I'm doing very little to grow, to get outside of my comfort zone, to push against my natural tendencies. And so this is, again, the time of the year where we look inward and we say, wait a second, what is that low-hanging fruit? How can let me be honest with myself and see where is the electronic fence of my comfort zone keeping me from stretching and from going out there, because even though the discomfort initially might be uncomfortable, the reward is much greater than the discomfort.
I was getting excited about what you said because, I think everybody should do a Kabbalistic chart reading. If you haven't done one.
Astrological chart reading.
What did I just say?
Kabbalistic chart reading.
I'm sorry. Kabbalistic astrological chart reading. You should do it. You should do it with one of the great astrologers that we have. I think we have like 5 or 6 around the world. I would do it, and something I even learned about my own chart, which gave me insight into myself, is I like even though we're Pisces, I have like this 5 planets in Scorpio, and especially
thanks for the warning.
You needed to know that.
Uh-oh.
So I learned a lot about, and then one of them is in kind of my Mars. Also, like the way I go to war. The way I go to war is like right in Scorpio, so it's very good. So for me, when I see a problem, and it's especially if it's a problem that really needs solving, and I just like a whatever problem, I have it the way I approach the problem is that I cannot leave any room for it not working out. So what I like to do, and I was talking to a student about this, about how they should address their problem, is I like to overwhelm the system and bombard it with so much effort, light, energy, practical, spiritual, every tool I learned, to leave no chance of a survivor of chaos. Like the problem cannot survive. So if the problem was just like a bunch of little people, none of those people can be alive after I be done with it. So it's like the Scorpio energy.
You are antibiotics, really strong antibiotics, killing all trace of chaos infection.
I have to kill, because if you leave even a little bit, it's just going to grow back like a tumor. So when I need to, solve a problem, figure out how to, it could be a legal issue. It could be, a relationship issue. It could be whatever. You don't just dribble and sprinkle some light on it. Sometimes people are like, okay, sprinkle a little bit of light. No.
Thoughts and prayers.
Huh?
Thoughts and prayers.
What do you mean? Yeah. I'll send you my thoughts and prayers. No, you got to overwhelm the system. I remember when my wife had, I don't think I've ever shared this. I shared this maybe just recently. I shared it for the first time, but I don't think I ever shared it on this show. But I remember she had when we were just friends. We weren't even dating. We were friends, but we're close friends, and I think there was potential for dating. She had a health challenge. She had a tumor. Did I ever share this? She had a tumor?
Not on the show.
Yeah. So Mary Ruth had a tumor, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna attack this in a very natural way. So she did a fast for 40 days. She fasted for 40 days, just green juice, and which is obviously not an easy thing to do. And then I said, all right, I'm going to just, for 40 nights, I'm going to wake up and do a spiritual connection from midnight to dawn. So I didn't sleep for 40 days in a row. So I said, because if we're going to conquer this thing, we have to overwhelm it from the spiritual, from the physical, and a bunch of other things. And 40 days later, she got the, whatever it is, the MRI, whatever, and the tumor had disintegrated. Now, I don't know. Some people say, well, do you think it's from the spiritual work or you think it's from the juice fast? I think a skeptic would say it's the juice fast. But the point is, you don't even want to have a question. You want to be able to tell the creator you did everything and there was nothing left to do. Because at that point, when you know there's nothing left to do, then the creator is forced to solve the problem. But if there's still something that you could do, the creator doesn't get involved. So you have to feel that you've done everything, and even then you have to beg to see if there's more to do. It's like a good employee. You don't just clock out at 5. You don't just clock out. You don't ever clock out, really. What you think about is, what does it take to get the job done? What am I not even thinking about to make it even better? And these are the ones that constantly will strive and will achieve higher and higher levels in their own career. Forget about it. If you're working for someone or you're just running your own business, if you check out and you just check boxes, you'll never be able to energetically grow, because the creator can only get involved when you go above and beyond, and even then ask for more.
You just reminded me of a really powerful teaching. By the way, I think sharing that was very powerful. First of all, from a personal experience, I think that people learn better from tangible examples rather than...
Not just quotes from the Zohar?
Not just quotes from the Zohar. But also that part of the... We talk a lot on the Weekly Energy Boost about desire, right? That's sort of, not even sort of, I use the word sort of to a fault. That relentlessness is actually one of the most high frequencies you can have. I remember it reminded me when you were talking of a teaching about how the middle is the worst place to be, right? That if you think you're not that bad of a person, you're also not that great of a person, that's like the worst place to be. The best place to be is obviously I am an immensely powerful being, and therefore I have to be so mindful about what I put my energy into and how I spend my energy both ways, not just in a positive sense, but also if I realize how incredibly powerful I am, I need to use that power for good, and also be so meticulous about falling and becoming negative, because that negativity is that much more powerful. But second place is I am the worst person in the world. According to Kabbalah, it's better to think you are the worst than to think you're not that bad. And when I heard that, as a Pisces, who's sort of the natural Piscean tendency is kind of apathy and I'm a good person. I remember when I started learning Kabbalah and I heard about being reactive, I was like, wait, I don't have to work on that because I am so not reactive, because my reactive behavior was no reaction, shutting down, nothing bothers me. I'm fine. But inside my, like they say, like a duck, floating on the surface, but like wildly hysterical on the beneath the surface. So it's better to be sickened by how negative you are, because then at least you have an awareness of the work you need to do. The disparity between where you're at and the light is so great, and you can recognize how far you need to go. But the person in the middle doesn't think they have that far, doesn't think they have too much work to do, doesn't think that they're so negative. And what woke me up about this mindset was you can't be powerful when you want to be and useless when you don't care. So most of us, when we're being negative, we're reactive. We don't think we're that powerful. So, what's the big deal? I'm getting a little reactive, I'm a little angry, I'm a little vengeful, I'm a little deceptive, whatever. No big deal, because I'm not that powerful. But then when you come and you want something, like I'm thinking about your desire, you and Mary with desire to really bombard this thing, then when you come to help somebody heal or help with huge transformation, but you've already told the universe you're not that powerful. So part of that, it's almost like a decision that we need to make to stay in touch with our greatness and our power and our abilities, so that the light is that much lighter and the darkness has that much less impact. Meaning it almost sounds like being humble means being in the middle. I'm not that bad, or I'm not that good. According to Kabbalah, the extreme is the way to go. And that's really what that story reminded me, and hopefully is...
Even if you fail, you've succeeded, because failure also reveals tremendous energy and lessons and wisdom that you then apply for the future. All the people we look up to are people who live in extremes, because maybe they've failed 1,000 times, gone bankrupt maybe, lost, and gotten ridiculed and criticized. The reason why we respect them is because once they've achieved those failures and those criticisms, they've corrected course. And now they have more wisdom, because the people who have the most wisdom are the people who have failed the most and gotten rejected the most. And this is why we pay a lot of money to see them. You know, what's the going rate to have lunch with Warren Buffett or Elon Musk? It's in the millions, right? I think Buffett's recent was $15 million just to have lunch with him. Well, who's paying $15 million to have lunch with him? Because this man has succeeded the most, failed the most, gone through the most, and so he has wisdom now.
It's that, it sounds like a spiritual person wouldn't be that extreme, but it actually is to our benefit to have that extremely intense frequency, because whichever way we fall, it'll be an advantage in the long run.
Well, we shared this once before, which is it's important to be extreme on the inside and like everyone else on the outside. This is actually a big secret. We have to be extreme on the inside with our consciousness, with our abilities, with our certainty, with our decisions. And then, yes, that might translate into being a trailblazer or a leader on the outside. But it's the people who often make a lot of noise and try to be different, that actually it's all just coming from insecurity.
Right.
When the most powerful people are the people who already have made a decision. You're sitting in a room, they're very quiet, but inside they've already see the vision, they see everything, they realize this is all a bunch of nonsense and a waste of time, and they've already like a master chess player, they have like 75 moves ahead. So, but they're very quiet about it because they already know that there's no point in even engaging with the people in the room because they already see it. So they're very extreme on the inside. They're very quiet and unassuming on the outside, right? You look at Warren Buffett, right? He doesn't look like an erratic human being. So we have to be careful. Those who try to make a lot of noise on the outside often means they have very little substance on the inside. Right? The tin box with a few coins makes a lot of noise. But when it's filled with coins, filled with energy, wealth, it makes you shake it. You don't hear anything. So be careful not to make a lot of noise from a place of trying to get everyone to look at you. But be very extreme on your inside. Be very strong. It says in Kabbalah, the Givurah, it's a name of the dimension of the, without getting into it, it represents strength. But it's heroism. It's like to be a hero. And it's one of the most powerful energies. And the person has to have strength and be a hero against his opponent, against his negative side. Right? The strongest person in the world is the person who's able to conquer his or her addictions, need for anything, need for approval, need for this pleasure, this fantasy, this imagination, this thing that other people have.
Control.
Everybody wants to feel like they're in control because they're afraid of what would happen if they would let go and die. But we teach in the classes, like, be willing to die. Obviously, not saying physically die, but it's stop protecting yourself, constantly protecting yourself with everything, holding on to this, holding on my reputation, my image, my ego, my fear, my favorite is, I always ask people in the class, doesn't matter who they are, I say, how old are you? Right? When somebody asks a question, I say, okay, well, I ask them a couple personal questions, I say, how old are you? And then there's the ones who don't want to share. I'm like, what do you not want to share? Like, what do you mean you don't want to share? Are you trying to be someone you're not? If you're 40, say you're 40. If you're 50, say you're 50. If you're 20, say you're 20. What are you putting up on the dating site? You're 50, but are you putting on a photo of when you're 35? Like, what are you trying to do? You're going to say, oops. Like, Well, yeah, maybe I'll trick this guy into liking me or this girl into liking me, and then I'll reveal the big
reveal.
The big reveal. Actually, that was an old photo when I had hair. so it's like, who cares? It's like, let go of your age, accept your age. And you see all this stuff coming out of like People magazine, how I embraced being 50 and loving it. It's like, instead of trying to fake it and being something else, just be who you are. The Creator didn't make a mistake. Right? This is the preparation, big preparation for Rosh Hashanah, the day that all souls in this world receive a new destiny, above Judaism, above religion. So you have to prepare. You have to accept yourself. Otherwise, if you don't accept yourself, the Creator, then the world doesn't accept you. So where are you left?
Beautiful. Mic drop.
I'm out of here.
Bye, David. Bye, David. David, they're already
Literally,
unpacking. Packing up and going home. So the only thing left to say or to do is to just, again, I laugh almost every week that I do this because whatever we talk about is so in line with this article that I don't read. I just pull it up because I know it's got that like last punch or a meditation for the week. So I'm going to read to you an article, a blog post, you want to call it, from Karen Berg from 2018. If you want to read it, it's called A New Heart. And maybe we'll put the link in the comments, or if I remember afterwards. What Karen says here, and again, there's a meditation at the end, which is really why I want to share this with you guys. Our instruction manual to the universe this week is the portion Shoftim. Shoftim means judges. Shoftim is a portion designed for the month of Virgo. It is always read this month and is there to assist us in the cleansing inherent during this time. Now we are able to be free from the scars of the past and given a chance at freedom. For true freedom is to be able to love. True freedom is to be free from the pain of a closed heart. In this portion, Moses instructs the Israelites to establish a system of judges and officers to assist in keeping the Creator's guidelines. Moses teaches us the importance of justice and fairness. He reminds the Israelites that when we act in ways of love to our neighbor, it is always we who will benefit. Kindness and love always come back our way. Moses further explains the guidelines that will keep them on the path of love and human dignity. We too are able to look at ourselves and see where we have gotten off course on our spiritual work. This portion allows us to see what we need to change about ourselves. We are asked to put judges and officers at our actions, not the actions of others, in order to recognize when we are acting in ways of coldness to people in our lives. This portion gives us the ability to see where we have gone astray and the gift of starting a new path of love. We have all been hurt in life. It is not easy to love again and to even trust others after experiencing deep hurt. We can find ourselves afraid to live life, but challenges, hurts, and pains are always doorways in which we can enter and connect to the love all around us. For when we know of pain, are we not able to sympathize with others? If we have not been hurt ourselves, will we know how to heal another? The hurt we may have experienced by another should not prevent us from living our lives, for life is meant to be lived, and life is nothing if not with love. If we are open to it, we can use the energy present this week to let go of the past, see where our heart has been closed, and reopen the gates of love once again. The Creator is willing to give us a new heart, and with it, a new life, for a life without love is no life at all. This week in your meditation, take yourself to an enchanted forest. Find yourself in a place that you thought was only possible in fairy tales. A beautiful forest with plants and grounds of lush green. The trees are strong and towering. The sunlight shines through, creating warmth all around. There is a beautiful small pond with a trickling waterfall. Take yourself there and have a seat on the grass. Breathe the clean air into your lungs, taking several breaths. As you sit there, calm, you begin to hear a rustling from the trees. You notice a fawn slowly making its way toward you with its delicate legs and large, soft eyes. It seems to know no fear as it comes closer to you. It sits gently by your side. You feel its warmth as you stroke its back. You both sit basking in the beauty all around you. You feel the love in the trees, the plants, and in the sky. You feel your heart renewing, and you feel the bright hope of the future. You feel love pouring out from within to the entire world. We are all trying to do our best. The Creator loves you just as you are. He is always with you. You are ready to give peace the chance it deserves. You are ready to give the people in your life the love they deserve. Let go of the past. Let go of the pain. Your heart is new. You are ready to love again. So again, that's on Kabbalah.com. It's called A New Heart. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us on all social media accounts. You can visit our website, weeklyenergyboost.com, to find out what David and I and our guests think are exciting and interesting for our listeners. And you can share, rate, and review. That's really what helps us reach even more people every week. It's thanks to you that we are growing and growing and growing. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.